Chuck Shoot Podcast. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully good. It's been a while since I've had an episode. I actually got a little bit of a story about that, or rant, I guess you should say. But first off, I do want to mention we are going to have Brandon Gibbs on today. So he should be calling in pretty soon here. If you haven't heard our last, I don't know why I keep saying R and we. It's just me. My last 8 episodes, check those out. I had Lee Pereira, Phoenix-based musician, does kind of bluesy soul rock stuff, really good stuff. He performed live, and we had an interview, and then I also recorded a couple of the songs, put them on YouTube. Same thing with Eddie Eberly, Phoenix-based musician. Actually, we had like 5 songs that he did, 2 covers, 3 originals. It's all on my YouTube channel, so if you go to the Chuck Shoot YouTube channel, you can see all that stuff. I also recorded a clip of the Donnie V interview that I did with Donnie V from Enough's Enough. Great story that he told about taking a horse through a Burger King drive-thru. So check that out. It's pretty funny. Good interviews. So check out my old interviews. We were going to have some more interviews, but people just flaking is what's going on. And I've noticed that's kind of a trend. I don't know if that's just society now. I don't know if it's always been that way and I just never noticed. But it is weird that people seem to be so flaky these days. Not only with podcast guests, but I mean, if you look at trying to apply for jobs, you send out so many applications, and most people just don't respond, and that's fine. That's the same with podcast guests. If I send out 20, 30, 40 invitations, probably most of the people that I'm reaching out to or feel like they're too big to do the Chuck Shoot podcast, which I understand, that's fine. So you're just not going to respond. Okay, great. Don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. If you had the time to reply and tell me why you don't want to do the show, that would be awesome. But that would be like going above and beyond. I don't really expect that. I mean, but the thing is if you say like, yeah, maybe I'll do it, and then I prepare and I get all ready, and then you don't do it, that kind of wastes my time. Or if you say, yeah, I'm going to do it, and then I reach out, and then you're like, oh, sorry, I was busy. You reply 3 days later, and that kind of stuff it's driving me crazy. And I think talking to other people, I think it's not just, like I said, not just podcast guests, but you're applying for jobs or dating with girls and those kinds of. Hopefully, it doesn't happen with your friends and family as much, but sometimes that happens too. So I don't know. That's just my. Not to get too preachy, but I feel like people just need to be direct with one another. Is that so hard? Is that such a hard thing to just say, if you don't want to do my podcast, if you don't want to date the person, if you don't want to hire them, just tell them. And then if you can even take the time to tell the person why in a nice, positive way, you don't want to be an asshole about it, but if you can give them a straight answer, wouldn't that just make the world a better place? If we could just be straight with each other and honest with each other and direct, but in a respectful way. Is that so much to ask for? I don't know. Maybe it is too much. But anyways, I am excited. I try not to dwell too much on the negative. I'm trying to be grateful for the guests that we've had. I've had some great guests on here, and I'm really excited today to have Brandon Gibbs. So if you're tuning in to listen to that, he'll be on shortly. Brandon Gibbs, if you don't know who the hell he is, I didn't know who the hell he was until about 5 years ago. But there was a super group that was formed. It was the bassist from a band called Cinderella, the drummer from a band called Poison, and the guitarist from LA Guns. And these 3 bands, LA Guns, Poison, and Cinderella, were 3 of the biggest rock groups in the 80s. So when I was a fan of all 3 of those groups. So when I found out there was a super group formed with the 3 of the members of those bands, I got really excited. I was like, oh, wow, that sounds awesome. But the 4th person was this no-name guy. I never heard of Brandon Gibbs. Who the hell's Brandon Gibbs? I don't know who the hell this is. Checked out the song. I think the first single it might have been All My People. And I was like, wow, okay, yeah, this dude can sing. And I think he plays guitar. I don't know if I think he played maybe rhythm guitar in Devil City Angels, but his songwriting and his singing, top notch. Guitar playing's good, top notch as well. I think, I got to ask him, because I think he does the solo on his new single. But he fronted that Devil City Angels band, and they were great. I never did get to see him live, unfortunately. I missed it when they came here, but definitely, he fit right in with those guys. Because again, I'm going, who's this guy? And now I know who he is. And it turns out he's been in the music business for a long time. He actually started in like 2000. So he had been in the business for like 14 years, started at a very young age, and opened for all these major bands like Creedence Clearwater, Peter Frampton, Jeff Healey, Kansas, Poison, Cinderella, all this stuff. He played with a couple of the guys in Cinderella in a band called Cheap Thrill that kind of did covers and I think maybe some originals too. But had been in the business for a while before the Devil City Angels. That was kind of his big break, I think. But then since then, I think that band has kind of been, I don't know, call it inactive or quiet. And so he's branched out into his solo stuff. And I'm excited. He's got a new single out. It's called Rain Whiskey. And so I'm definitely going to ask him about that. And I'm assuming there's going to be an album coming out too. Maybe this is just the first taste of it, but the single's great. And so we're going to talk to him about that and talk to him about, his history and playing with all these bands and opening for all these people and kind of what happened with the Devil City Angels. Cause I did really like that band. I never did get to see them live, but I did like the one album that they put out. And so we'll definitely have to ask him about that. And the future's bright for this kid. I think he's a younger guy. So a lot of those guys in the Devil City Angels, a little bit older, he was kind of younger. And so I think he's still got a bright future ahead. I think there's a lot more music to come from this kid. And maybe some more super groups, or maybe he'll get back with Devil City Angels. I'm not sure, but we'll definitely ask him about all those things. So just hang on tight, and hopefully he'll be on the line shortly. Hello. Okay, hello. Oh, hey, oh, there we go. Let me get you. Are you on now? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we are. Sorry, technical difficulty. Every time, for some reason, it goes the wrong thing. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing well. Is this Chuck or Charles?
Chuck. Yeah, it's a Chuck Shoot podcast. Yeah, my email says Charles, but yeah, it's Chuck.
Oh, okay, I just didn't want to call you the wrong name by accident.
Oh, no, I appreciate that.
Chuck.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Gotcha. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing really, really well. I'm at home now. The last couple of weeks I did some work on the West Coast and had a good time. And I'm home right this minute and just working on day-to-day things with my label. And wanted to make sure we got in touch. I appreciate you reaching out to us.
Yeah, I appreciate you following up with me. So, yeah, let's just start at the beginning. So you're actually, you were born in Quincy, Illinois, but you grew up in Iowa near the Quad Cities, I guess that's what it's called, Davenport and Bettendorf. And is that right?
Yeah, very, very close. Like the southeast corner of Iowa. We're actually from Burlington, Iowa. That's where I kind of grew up, Burlington, okay. Fort Madison, Iowa area.
Awesome.
Born in Quincy, and I don't know, proud Midwest boy. I moved to Tennessee a while back, and after we got our first record deal, I decided, after we got our first record deal, almost then was when my daughter was born. And so I decided that we would move closer to where closer to where my parents live and brother and sister, so we could, just be honest, so I could have some help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time to time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So,
yeah, you grew up in Iowa. You started playing guitar at 8. And so it's interesting because, I got to know you from Devil City Angels, but it looks like your musical influences were more kind of blues than rock. You actually really like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Allman Brothers, Eric Clapton, Jeff Healey, Hendrix, B.B. King, right? It wasn't until later that you got into stuff like Poison and Stone Temple Pilots. And
really, my influences were Allman Brothers, Stevie Ray, B.B. King. I mean, I was just hooked on the blues, and I still love the blues. My first show was at one of the greatest guitar, Peter Frampton.
Right.
And so I mean, I was just obsessed with the blues, and when it got time to start really looking at what do I want to identify as a songwriter, I went just a little bit of a different direction. And my twin brother, he was always more of a rock metal guy or whatever. And so just all of a sudden we combined the influences, and I started opening for bands like Poison and all Cinderella, all those guys. And so I just kind of took it all in and just said, well, I like rock, I like blues, and I like songwriting, and country a little bit has some songwriting. I have some country influences as well, old school country that they storytell, and so I just took all three of those things and it's just it feels natural to me.
Yeah, it sounds natural too. Absolutely, it sounds like there's a lot of soul and emotion coming from your songwriting. And I think so. Actually, you started when you were 13. One of your first shows, was this your very first show or one of the first shows you played Blindfolded? Can you tell us about that?
Oh, well, okay. So when I say one of my first shows was with Peter Frampton, it's not altogether accurate. We did and did after. We did a lot of the bar circuit.
Yeah.
4 hours a night when we were 11 and 12 years old. We had done that. As many people that would let us play, because we were underage and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the same festival that we played with Peter Frampton, the year prior, they had us at the south end of that festival on, I guess, what would be considered a lot smaller stage. But that stage opens up early in the day, and the local bands and things would play there. And so we did that, and for whatever reason, we decided to do the last song. Sorry if it's loud. I'm trying to walk away from the noise. Whatever reason, the last song was we decided to do Blindfolded, and the next year they inquired about having us back, and we just assumed it'd be the smaller stage again.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, no, you're doing the big one. We liked your work." And so that's really kind of how all that happened.
So was it just you playing Blindfolded, or did the whole band play Blindfolded?
It was me and my twin brother.
Your brother,
we had that band, the Gibbs brothers, and
so
we had these two high school friends come out and just
that's interesting.
I don't know why.
I thought it was interesting when I was doing the research because when I just first heard about you at the Devil City Angels, but you'd been in the business for like 14 years, and you guys started that band in 2000 with your brother, he's like a really flamboyant drummer. And now, is he a police officer now, or is he back in music?
No, he's a full-time police officer. He's a sheriff's deputy now.
Okay.
We disbanded in 2010 or 2011,
but
something like that.
Does he ever come back and just play with the solo stuff, or?
Yeah, actually, he was I was with Michael McDonald and Alice Cooper last year, I think it was.
Wow.
And I invited my brother to come out and sing, and he's crazy talented, and he always will have that. He's a natural when it comes to drumming and rhythm, and so it's one of those things. He can. I let him, as his brother, I let him pick and choose which ones he wants to come and do.
Oh, that's very cool.
And we kind of cater to his schedule, and it does him good because he, when he quit the band, we had been going for a long, long time, and I don't know if he wasn't seeing the light at the end of the tunnel or what.
Right.
It was time to regroup, and unfortunately, instead of regrouping and maybe taking a break, we just went our separate ways. I'm real proud of him though. He's a good man, and
he's a little bit of a comedian too, isn't he? I saw some of his YouTube stuff. It was pretty funny.
Oh, he's a fun. Yeah. He's a lot of a comedian. I always tell him that he missed his calling. I try to get him to do it occasionally, like professionally, or open up a show, even if it's one of my shows or something stuff, because he can impersonate anybody.
Oh, really?
Within minutes of being around him. And so, funny story. We were in the Lake of the Ozarks, and I decided that I was gonna buy our family like a pontoon boat thing for the day. So me and him are in this office, and there's a former retired police officer that's running this jet ski boat rental place, and he had a real strong Wisconsin accent. And as soon as we pull away from the thing, my brother is talking just like this guy in character of this guy and I instantly knew who the hell he was doing. But my family, they weren't in the office when I was paying for it, so they had no idea. And I'm not kidding you. I hit the deck of the boat laughing because it was instantaneous. He transformed into that guy.
Wow.
So yeah, he's a hoot.
I love impersonations. It's always great. So yeah, but anyways, getting back to the band. So you guys opened for Creedence Clearwater, Peter Frampton, Jeff Healey, Kansas, Poison, Cinderella, all this stuff. So this was at a really young age. So did you ever did you start to develop an ego at that point, start thinking you're better than everyone else? Because these kids are out studying algebra and going to pep rallies, and you're getting to play on stage with some of the biggest bands ever. Did you get a big ego? I mean, I would.
I hope we didn't.
Because I would rub that in people's faces if it was me, if I had that kind of talent.
Well, the thing is, it's like, I mean, we were, it was good for us. I mean, we had a lot of luck, as they say, but there was also hard work in that.
Sure.
But it was different for us because as kids, the other kids had homecomings and the football games and prom and all those exciting things, and we literally couldn't relate to them because when the weekend would come, we would be with Kansas or somebody like that, and so we actually had a difficult time making friends like in the community or hanging out with people that were not necessarily that didn't kind of know what we already did. And so that was kind of tough, missing a few of those high school moments.
So you feel like you kind of missed out on some of that stuff?
I personally don't feel like I mean, I knew what I wanted to do right away.
I'd rather be in your shoes personally than I did the other stuff. You didn't miss anything. The rest of high school sucked. So
well, I knew what I wanted to do, but I also knew that there was a huge difference in personality.
Sure.
From like, I dated my next door neighbor, and she was big into school sports and things like that, and anytime I would go out with her to parties or whatever, like, kids didn't know what to say to me or how to because we just didn't. I was not interested in the same things that they were. Cars, we could talk all day, but as far as the games in school, I just I'm a guitar player, and I would be happy to tell you about what I did, a few nights ago, but it's almost like that, it's almost unbelievable. Like, at that point, you almost feel like you're name dropping about what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis. And so you had to be careful with that, because you could tick some people off. Like, well, yeah, I scored a touchdown. Well, I played to 10,000 people last night. It's like,
you win. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you win, but you also don't want to, make them feel like they're less than, because they're not. It's just what we decide to do with our lives.
It's just different. Yeah. So during that time, like you said, you're not even 21. So you're not even allowed into some of these venues, but are there drugs and alcohol flowing backstage for you guys? Was it raining whiskey, so to speak? Is this?
Well, I will say this: everyone that we've worked with, to be honest with you, have really been mature, and there's a reason that these big names that we've worked with are still big names. REO Speedwagon is still, and a lot of it's because they did what they did in the early days, and then they moved on. And so we kind of got in the sweet spot of where everyone's grown up and professional for the most part. Him and I were curious with drugs and alcohol, I guess. Not like hard, we would, like any other kid, would smoke pot or whatever. But really, the thing that we just enjoyed was crack. I mean, we enjoyed the taste of having a cold beer before you play the show. But it never really,
that's what I like
it never really taste was a pinnacle of, it wasn't a ritual.
Right. Well, because I think a lot of the bands that you played with, they'd probably already gone through their party phase. A lot of those guys at this point, they had to clean up because they're old. I mean, they can't be partying hard if they're in their 50s and 60s usually. So, I mean, some
exactly. And we found out, if we turned it on real, or had a hotel after party, the next day we kind of felt bad that we, were so damn rowdy. And the other thing I'll say is that one of the reasons we got so many of these opportunities is because we knew, early on, our parents, as ornery as we were, when we were at work, when we were working, we stayed out of everybody's way. We did our show, and you didn't see us again. And so that's why, minding your P's and Q's in a professional manner, there's time to cut up, and trust me, we still do. but
Mm-hmm.
we want people to walk away going, okay, Brandon and Brent or the Gibbs brothers at that time
Yeah.
were a pleasure.
Yeah, you want to
And
be
they made
invited
my
back
job
next
easier.
year. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then you did that solo album. This is even before the Devil City Angels, Into the Ocean, and ESPN
Mm-hmm.
actually picked up that one of your songs, This Town, which I think they play on. It was like not NASCAR, but some sort of car racing. It was like it was a repeated song, right? Did you get?
Yeah, it was the NHRA. It was drag
NHRA.
racing.
Sorry, yeah. So did you get a big
Mm-hmm.
cut for that, or I mean, is that like a big moneymaker still, or was it?
I mean, it was. I mean, to be honest, have never I've never really dove into my business as far as what we make here and what we make there.
Yeah.
I know that we've always been fine, so I can't tell you what. Thankfully, we've always been fine. I know that was a good one
It was
for
a
us.
good one. Yeah. So
Yeah, I could give you a ballpark.
that's pretty lucrative. That's a lucrative thing because I talked to somebody last couple weeks ago, and he was a musician, and it's interesting how they do those. So he said they picked 8 of his songs for TV things, but they don't get paid until they actually use it, right? So they actually used your song though.
They used the. It was funny. Courtney Force, her, she's with the famous John Force Racing team. She's his daughter. She just used the video as a YouTube ad for her getting ready for a race, a very important race to her, and it was kind of a comical video. She gets all dolled up, but she drives a car that's got 1,000 horsepower, and anyway, she used my song. We had a mutual friend that I don't know if she gave her. It was my old business manager. I don't know if she gave her the song or shared it at some point. But the funny part is they actually thought they sent it to another artist saying, hey, we're going to strike a deal with you. And he goes, oh yeah, that's great. What song are you talking about? We're going, oh, ESPN. It's This Town, isn't it? Well, he goes, oh, you got the wrong guy. They accidentally. I think they reached out to the wrong guy, and so, anyways, I mean, it worked out for me.
Yeah.
But it was, it was a really great moment because I just moved to Tennessee and still, as a solo artist, still building my brand, and to be there, after 2 months and have a song on national television was a blessing.
Yeah, and this also during this time, for a few years, you were in this band, which I had never heard of until I did my research. But you were in a band with two of the guys from Cinderella called Cheap Thrill, and also I think it was the guitarist from Collective Soul.
That band was the drummer of Collective Soul.
Sorry, the drummer. Yeah, and it was Jeff LeBar was guitar, and then Eric Brittingham was the bass. So, and then you guys did your solo stuff, but also like covers and Cinderella songs. And so, tell us about that band.
Well, I had known Eric Brittingham for a long time. He actually played in the Gibbs Brothers for about a year. And anywho, so when I moved down there, Cinderella had just, I think, wrapped up their last run together. And I was invited to it was a sunglasses store, a high-end sunglasses store, to do a benefit, to sing 2 songs at a benefit with Troy Luccketta from Tesla. And Eric Brittingham was there, and we, hit it off as we always do. And then Jeff was there, and I thought, well, you know what? I have a concept of a touring band where we do my thing. We do what you guys do because there's a lot of people love Cinderella, and I still do. And then we'll get this guy Cheney, who I knew was free. I'd never met him, but I knew he's free. And we'll just, we'll go hit the road, and boy did we! And we hit the road, and
did you guys tour
crazy times?
I know you toured nationally. Did you tour outside of the country as well?
Yeah, we actually did. We did like 26 days in 26 shows in 30 days in Europe, all different parts of Europe, and everyone really liked that band, and it was just a fun, like, you just partied when you went to that show, and it made us. We kind of had that reputation too. I mean, we would just throw down with the audience, and you'd get an original song from me, and then you'd get a Gypsy Road or Shine or something like that, and just kind of pay homage to everybody's background. So it was pretty.
That's great. It
was pretty gnarly, and we put on a lot of freaking miles. I mean, we were always on the road. We never recorded together. Ever. And it's just one of those things where we just we hit the gas pedal on touring. That's what we decided
Sure.
to do, and 3 years of that, I believe, and great times.
Yeah. So then 2014, Tracy Guns and Rikki Rockett see each other at a jam, and they joke, "Oh, you guys should form a band, Guns and Rockets." And they think, maybe we should form a band. So they form Devil City Angels, and they give you the call. And you said it was kind of like that movie Rockstar with Marky Mark or Mark Wahlberg, whatever. But you said it was kind of like getting that kind of call where you're like, "Oh, wow, like I'm gonna be the front man for this band of like basically a super group." With Eric Eric Brittenham was also in that, subsequently replaced by Rudy Sarzo. But I mean, was it really because you're already playing with the guys from Cinderella and Collective Soul, but that was like, you felt like that was more of a step up being in Devil City Angels?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, we toured so much in Cheap Thrill, and I got to a point where I'm going, okay, like I said, we didn't record. I recorded on my own, but the band didn't record. And it was nothing against any of them, but I was ready to take the next step in my professional recording career. And as Brandon or it was time. It was time to, honest to God, it was time to close the book on that band. And not, there's no backstory. It was just time for me to move on. And anyway, so I remember doing this. My parents came down to Tennessee and they're at my house, and I remember, quitting the band, and it was sad. I mean, I was almost in tears, saying that this is it, because it's something we built and the miles that we put on. But sometimes you just know that it's time to turn the page, and there's no drama or anything behind that. You just know that it's the next step. And we made a good living doing that. And so I was in the house, and I told the powers that be that I'm done. And my parents went out to my SUV to get in. I was going to take them downtown Nashville, and I was scared. I thought, man, did I really just do this? Okay. So I jump in the car and trying to act happy, and I go, oh, well, I forgot my cell phone. Ran in the house, got my cell phone, and I had a message from Rikki Rockett, who I've known for many years. And he says, hey, you, me, Tracy Guns, let's talk. And so when I got home, Rikki and I started talking, and he's like, do you know Tracy? And I said, well, I've been on show bills with Tracy, but personally, no, I have not. I don't know. I know of him, but I don't know him. And he goes, well, he's actually a real smart individual, and he likes your voice, and we don't know what we're doing yet, but we want to put something together. Are you interested? And I said, well, man, you caught me at the right time. I am definitely interested. And do you want, are we doing recording? He goes, we just, we like the way you look, and I've known you forever, and I think this could be good for you, and it could be good for us.
Yeah.
And at that time, to be honest with you, the bad part was there was no mention of Eric Brittingham.
Right.
So I'm in all these talks, and I'm like, this is tough, because I've been playing with Eric for so long. That, now we're going to go our separate ways. I'm going to miss him. And anywho, Eric, I told Eric about the whole deal, and I think he was kind of like, oh, well, that sucks. I mean, because we're pretty tight. And anyways, him and I took him to like a car dealership where they have all these muscle cars and things, just hanging out, no music talk, no nothing. And Rockett called him and said, hey, why don't you think about joining this thing we got Brandon in? And he agreed. And so it was like a week later, him and I were, we were flown out to Los Angeles to start the meeting. And that's really how the whole thing started. It was actually pretty easy.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I love that album. You guys sold a song to Monday Night Football again, so there's more money coming there. And then you toured all across the country. Unfortunately, I didn't get to catch you, so maybe you guys will get back together. I don't know. But I got to ask, I don't want to go full TMZ here, but I got to ask, are you and Rikki cool now? Because there was a little bit of a Facebook battle between the two where you just said the band was inactive, and he was saying, it's inactive because I got cancer. And then you guys kind of went back and forth, which seems out of character for him. I mean, out of character for you too. I mean, for both of you, it seemed like I was like, this is kind of weird. So do you guys kiss and make up, or what's the story there?
I mean, we're both passionate individuals.
Sure.
And I hate almost being asked sometimes about the group, because the band was kind of lightning in a bottle, and
Mm-hmm.
it went away rather quickly as it came in. And there is sometimes no easy way to say it, that it's inactive and you have to do things.
Mm-hmm.
It comes across like a slam. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't meant to be that way.
No, that's
And
exactly,
so,
that's what I thought. When I saw it, you seemed very matter of fact, like the band's inactive, so I'm going to go do this. It didn't seem like you were slamming it. But I think he took it as like you saying like, you know, that yeah, like he took offense to it basically, right?
he did. He took offense to it. And, you know, that's the computer and that's text. I mean, I had been, you know, since Devil City Angels kind of stopped, I have been doing nothing but my own thing and enjoying it.
Sure.
So it really, to me, it didn't seem like it was something that was that surprising, I guess, that you know, it's inactive and we have to, like, I'm working on this right now.
Right.
And I truly didn't mean it to upset him.
Right.
And when he read that, I think it did.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's a bunch of garbage, because him and I are, you know, we have so many common interests and things like that. We just put it to bed, and it's like, all right, I misread you. Hey, what's up? I mean, him and I do that a lot, and that's, you know, when you're around, not a lot, but, you know, we're passionate people. It could be about a UFC fight. You know, we're both big MMA lovers.
Really? Okay.
And he's in the throes of jiu-jitsu and real good at that. And so, I mean, it's kind of a Rocket Brandon thing. If we disagree, we it takes a minute for us one of us to go, okay, well, I'm wrong or whatever. And usually we're just, I don't know, we're just kind of like, I don't know, brothers in that regard.
Okay.
And the next day it's like, hey dude, let me ask you this. What do you blah, 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 blah. And
so you guys don't hold grudges. You guys moved on. You moved on. Okay. So that's all. I just want to make sure you guys are cool.
We both felt a little foolish because it didn't have, I felt bad because I knew that it definitely made, when he woke up and read that I said that it was, you know, I'm doing this because it's inactive.
Yeah.
I think it made him upset, and that truly wasn't my intention. And so, anyways, to answer your question, him and I are, you know, perfectly fine. He actually, we text about music and bands and who knows? I mean, he asked me the other day if we ever get Devil City back, you know, what's up? And I was, shit, man. I mean, I just like working with you. So
absolutely.
Tracy's
a little busy with LA Guns, but yeah.
Yeah, no, he's doing his thing, and, you know, you never know. I just think that you always keep doors open, and when everybody has the time, could be a perfect time to hit another run or you know,
or what about the special guest? It was like basically Poison. It was CC, Bobby, and Rikki from Poison, and then minus Bret Michaels, but then you were fronting it. And you had talked at one point about recording new music with them. Is that something that could still happen, or have you kind of moved on from that idea?
Well, you know, that'd be up to Bobby, CC, and Rikki, really. We had multiple talks about doing, you know, Bobby and I talked about writing music, and several times actually. He had some ideas that he was, you know, kind of sending me, and just a lot of talk about stuff. And it was actually kind of nice because to hear those guys kind of perk up about new music, and then have me be involved in that, because that's been a request from their fans for a while,
right?
Just to get in the studio. And
it's cool too, because Bret Michaels isn't like, he's not like, screw you guys, what are you doing without me? He's sending you a video the other day I saw that he's like, hey Brandon, you rock, man. Like, he loves you too. So it's like, it's cool that you're good with all those guys. And it sounds like maybe they just want to do something. For some reason, Bret's kind of more, I think he's more focused on his solo stuff right now, right?
Well, you know, the thing is, Bret's a friend of mine, and I met Bret and I met them all at the same time. Yeah. And I've worked with Bret. I've played guitar for his band a few times, in a pinch. You know, he's a friend of mine. And when I took that gig to be in the special guest, you know, I was like, well, I'm not going to mimic. I'm not going to be, you know, a douche that way. These guys have a legacy. These people that are here tonight are here to see these guys. Okay, so I know that.
Yeah.
Let me give them the best show I can while singing their material. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I just took it like that, and I think fans really dug it because I wasn't trying to pull away from their memories of what they were and are still. I was just you just saw four guys who wanted to book some gigs, and it really kind of was that simple. And I just watched everyone have a real good time with it, and it's one of those kind of a bookmark in my career because song after song after song, whether I grew up listening to them or not, they have so many hits and so many wonderful songs that people just, singing Every Rose or Something to Believe In. You just watch people kind of go back in time where, it was all good, man. So it was kind of a thrill. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's very cool. You just need a different name. I'd never like the special guest. Call it like Cyanide or something. I don't know. But let's talk.
Man,
what?
The thing with special guests is, I'll tell you, the special guest is the problem was we couldn't come up with a name.
Because everything's taken, all the Poison cover bands and tribute bands.
Well, I didn't want them to do that. Anything to do with Poison-ish, I guess, but don't call it that Poison or don't do that because I don't want to be in that spot. I'm gonna do my thing when we all get home. So the promoter or the guy that helped us kind of start it, he said, "All right, you're a special guest," and then it was like within an hour, Rikki had a drum head printed with a question mark on it. I never was a fan of it, but the name, I thought we could do better, but it was only because we had gigs booked, and we're like, it was crunch time, so like, that is what it is. Special guest.
I mean, if you did go forward with it and record music, I'm sure you guys would come up with like an awesome name. I love the name Devil City Angels. I don't know who came up with that, but that was great.
It was actually Angel City Devils or some crap, and we just started. I mean, none of us were doing backflips over it, and I don't know if it was Tracy or someone. We had just spit it backwards, and we go, "All right, that's it."
Yeah, and I like the logo too.
Branded.
Yeah, the logo is very cool too. I like that. So.
Me too.
But speaking of cool names, I love the name of your new single, Rain Whiskey. So now I was always really bad at like literary interpretation. I got to see in English lit and all that stuff. So I just got to ask, is the song about drinking whiskey or is there like a deeper meaning, like the whiskey is the metaphor for the blood of life or is it just about partying and drinking whiskey?
It's, Rain Whiskey, when I wrote that song, see my friend, this guy that guitar tech me for a little bit, he goes, you've covered a lot of ground musically. You're an emotional songwriter, and you can get down and do real well with your words. He goes, well, one thing that you need to do, in my opinion, he goes, you're a likable guy. You like to party and hang out with your buds, and you're fun to be around. He goes, have you ever thought about that? And I said, oh, I just never considered myself that funny or fun. I don't know. And he goes, no, you're people like you because of your personality, and it's so stressful at times where you got the 9 to 5 and paying bills and getting the kids where they need to go or whatever, holidays. And sometimes people just get so wrapped up in the day-to-day thing with it, when they put their feet on the floor, they're instantly going, here we go,
Mm-hmm.
And I try and in my daily, routine is I try and check in on people that I love by a joke or whatever, and basically just cut the tension. I think it's perfectly okay. Like my concept was, we're going to pull into a town where everyone's got the suit and tie on, and give them permission to let loose. And it's okay if you feel bad the next day, because you only live. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. And I just think if people, if they let their shoulders down, loosen the tie, get a drink or whatever your fancy is, but make sure that you enjoy the moment and have a good time. It takes the stress off. You can get through the work week. Oh man, that was something. I had fun. I truly did have fun.
Yeah.
So that's it's not necessarily about selling booze, but it probably will sell booze at shows. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of whiskey? Are you a whiskey guy?
Not as much as I used to be, but I'm telling you, this last run, I just like, before I go on stage, I just like a good Jack Daniels and sip that thing down, kind of warm up the pipes, and unfortunately, I can have quite a bit of them. I can have quite a few of
Yeah.
them, but
You're still
that
pretty
would be
young,
my.
only 34, right? So yeah, you still got a few more years of partying, I think, before you
Oh well,
got to slow
I
down.
try and keep it. I try and keep it between the lines. I'm actually not that much of a hard alcohol drinker. I really like. I'm a Midwest boy, so a beer is perfectly fine. But when we got to tune ourselves up real quick and get in the mood, usually a Jack Daniels is right on the money.
Awesome. So now, is that you doing the solo on the song? I was going to ask you that because there's a really good guitar solo on that single.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, because I saw a video of you. I think this was right. You were doing on YouTube. It was you playing Van Halen's Eruption, and it was like spot on. I was actually really impressed because that is not an easy song. It's not like Hotel California or something. I mean, you were doing right. Was that you doing the tapping and all that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, the thing is, like the thing is, I've been a lot of people forget, because I fronted. That was the job. I fronted Devil City Angels, and I was more or less rhythm.
Right.
So Tracy could do his thing. I soloed here and there during the set, but really he was the lead guitar player, and I was just making sure I was putting texture on what he was doing. So a lot of people just forget that was my first love, and I was a guitar player in the Gibbs Brothers. I was not the singer.
Right. Was your brother the singer? He sang from the drum kit?
He did.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to do. I'm very impressed with people that can do that.
It's a hard thing to do, and visually it kind of looks a little weird, but because people are used to the center guy.
Sure.
But to me, it just kind of showed an extreme amount of talent on his end.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, that's my guitar playing, and I very much enjoy at my shows showcasing what I learned over the years, and I don't know, making sure everyone hears it.
Yeah. So when can we expect I'm assuming there's going to be a full album. This is just the single.
No, what we're trying to do with my label Golden Robot is, they truly believe in a singles market, and I guess that I'm going to let them do what they do best and direct what we need to do. But right now, as I've kind of resurfaced as Brandon Gibbs, the solo artist and songwriter, right now what we're doing is releasing a song here, releasing a song there, and it all will go up to a full album where you can buy a physical copy of it. But right now we're just putting, hey, this is what he's doing now. Devil City is in this category, and this is what he's doing. And so, yeah, we actually have a follow-up song that I'm really excited about, and I can't wait for everyone to hear. Crazy stuff happening on the follow-up as well. So
very cool. Okay, yeah, because it's interesting. Like, I think when music rock started, it was the singles. Like the Beatles, it was all about the singles in the 50s and 60s, and then kind of the 70s and 80s, it was about the albums, and now it's going back to the singles. So, yeah, that makes sense.
To be honest, I wish people, I wish people still bought CDs. I thought that was cool because you get the pamphlet with the lyrics or the pictures, and I just remember being so excited when I was young to, go buy like a Velvet Revolver CD and unwrap it and whatever. And now everything's digital.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to go with the times, but it is what it is, and we'll just see.
Well, I think there's other cool, I think part of the appeal of vinyl is kind of coming back. I think part of the appeal to that is just, like you said, like having like a pamphlet or packaging. And the thing with the vinyl is you get this giant, piece, it's a lot of packaging and stuff. And maybe people don't really actually listen to the records. They listen on the digital, but they like having all that, material to look at the pictures and, all that kind of stuff is my thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, now it's like you got the single, it's on download, and then you got all their social media for the pamphlet.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy someone getting out a CD booklet and going through the CDs, or I have some albums and stuff. I still enjoy all of that, and I hope actually with Devil City they did a real good job. They put our record on vinyl, and they had different colors. I think one was an orange one. I got my dad one for Christmas. I don't even have one. Can you believe that?
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something
you
got to
get
get.
signed, you get 5 CDs, or something like
Oh,
that.
that's it, huh?
But they did a real good job with that packaging, and so
Huh.
I hope that this venture with this label, maybe we
Yeah.
could look into that at some point.
So do you look into that other kind of marketing aspect of being a musical artist nowadays? Because you only sell so much from the digital stuff, and you only get so big of a piece from digital with iTunes. I don't think it's very much. So do you look at like merchandise, like T-shirts and bumper stickers, and then are you doing like the meet and greets? Do you charge for that, or?
Yeah, here's my thoughts on the meet and greets. I don't personally enjoy people paying money
Uh-huh.
to come and hang out with me.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of. I just don't have my brain wrapped around it yet, and it doesn't mean that whoever's doing it is wrong, because they're not.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, either some of your main incomes have been either stripped away or nailed down in a very narrow way.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do something. So what concept I came up with on this tour I put together called Planet X is, if you're going to come to the meet and greet, we're going to get out the acoustic guitar and we're going to sit and talk with you, and we're going to play a song that will not be in the set.
Oh.
And so for your whatever the package, let's just say it's $20. For your $20, you get your photo, you get a poster of the group signed, you get to hang with the group, and then you get to hear something that everyone else out in the audience won't be hearing. And it could be an old song from your catalog, or one that you
That's
just
very
came up
cool.
with.
Like a bonus.
And so,
Okay.
I just try and make sure everyone gets some bang for their buck,
Yeah.
and it helps us too. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
we get
That's the
to,
thing is like, because if we post a picture with you and then I post, hey, here's Brandon Gibbs, like I'm advertising for you. If I have 800 friends on my Facebook, then 800 people saw
Sure.
it, got a free advertisement. So I always think that's smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, $20 is, some of those things are just like, they're so ridiculous where you're just going, really $100 for this? Like that's a lot of money. So
Yeah, and our fans are so great, because they, it's something that they want. Like I was in Vegas last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago, and people that have paid for these meet and greets, in which we performed and hung out and gave them our time, they have no problem buying a ticket to go to Las Vegas and just take their wife and hang out, because now they feel connected with you.
absolutely.
And in a way, when you do it as much as we do and are gone as much, they kind of become family. It's like, and so it's just a cool, meet and greets. I just enjoy giving them everything we can for that short amount of time.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of people kind of shy away from the term rock star, but listening to interviews you've done, you're not afraid to embrace it, which I think is awesome, because I grew up with rock stars. So I think people in rock bands are rock stars to me. Now, who do you think are the hottest rock stars right now, besides Brandon Gibbs, of course?
Oh, I was just seeing a thing the other day. Someone posted all these things about these great artists, leaving, and
Yeah.
we've had some really, really great, amazing teachers, and it's hard for me to pin it down. But obviously, I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. I think Dave Grohl is just the perfect example of what a rock star on stage should be. He's entertaining.
Such a
He's
cool
energetic.
guy.
He's funny. I'm able to laugh at some of I've never actually been to a show, and my friends have. I'm looking at videos. I'm laughing with him, and it's like he's got a sense of humor. And I think at the end of the day too, he's got a good heart.
Yeah.
And I've seen somewhere where he was grilling for some emergency workers, grilling burgers and helping them out. That to me is a rock star. That's a good man up there who's a badass in all realms. And so, Dave Grohl would be probably my top pick for what I would call a rock star. And I know a lot of guys they don't like that term, and sometimes I kind of shy away from it, but at the same time, it's like, it's so funny listening to kids like my daughter. She doesn't know what to say to her friends about what I do. She just goes, "Oh, well, he's a rock star." My dad's a rock star.
That's
and
cool.
So it's just, I don't take it too serious.
Yeah,
I guess
no.
is what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
that's what people call it, then call it that. That's
Sure. So
that's your thing.
Yeah, so speaking of other terms and not being too serious, what do you think about the term hair metal? Because there was a big discussion on Twitter the other day with Eddie Trunk and Rikki Rockett. They were kind of chiming in they both said they hate the term. It's offensive. Now, are you offended by that term because you played with guys in Cinderella, LA Guns, and Poison? So, I mean, that would definitely be considered hair metal. I mean, what do you think about that term?
I really don't think it's that bad. That was there's just a way to group it all together.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a slander on their songs or anything like that. I mean, it kind of was hair metal, to be honest. Well, look, their music was great, and along with their music, they were pushing fashion at the same time. Who can be the most ridiculous?
Yeah.
And
I mean, Poison is the epitome of hair metal, is it not? I mean, but I loved it. I thought it was great. I mean, it was fun.
I mean,
it was
those
fun
guys had all kinds of hair.
Yeah, it really was nothing but a good fucking time. Like, it was just great. So I love it.
It was so cool, and I don't. When I'm with them, I will. I'll never chalk it up to that. But I think a lot of the guys. I mean, let's face it. Like, they'll say, "We're going to go take it back to the strip." People can use that term. Hollywood strip. It's just like it was on the strip back in the day. I don't think that's offensive.
No, no, absolutely.
I guess if someone. I don't know. I mean, you could look at me and go, "Yeah, he's tattoo metal or something." I don't know. I just probably roll my eyes.
A lot of tats, yeah. Hollywood that's kind of one scene. So a couple cities that I've been to recently, I got to get your opinion on this because I know you live in Nashville, and I went to Nashville for the NFL draft, and it was insane. I loved it. I've also been to Austin. What do you think the music scenes compare? Because Austin, that's where Stevie Ray Vaughan's from, your hero. But then you live in Nashville. Yeah. I think Nashville was like Austin on steroids, right? I mean, because I went to these bars and there were 4 stories, and every story was a different live band. Is it always like that, or was that just for the NFL draft?
No, it's always like that. Always like that. I mean, I would actually prefer, when people ask me where do I go to get into a scene, of course, Nashville and Austin has always had a scene. I remember C.C. DeVille when I was like 15 years old. He goes, "You got to get down to Austin and just check it out." And we would eventually start doing like little festivals, and I think we did a Twins festival near Austin at one point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just booming. And of course, yeah. Nashville. I mean, Nashville's so huge now. A guy can, it's the big little city, and you go there and you start making connections and writing with people. It really, the big old city starts to become small, And of course, all the guys that play in different bands, they go out to bars. I mean, really, the bar scene is kind of where you start your networking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a beautiful thing. It's how Nashville's built. Is I hope if I get here, there's enough people in the scene that I can start rubbing elbows with, and we'll see where this goes.
That's very cool. Yeah, very awesome. So the best advice that you got, you said, was from George Thorogood. He told you, here's the formula for success. Make it happen. And in other words, you kind of explained it as get off your ass, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and go get your dream. Do you feel like that advice still applies?
Oh, absolutely. He actually said, he pulled me backstage and he goes, you want to know how to make it? And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to give me a set of golden keys when I leave here. When I leave this meeting with Uncle George Thorogood, when I leave this meeting, I'm going to have I'm going to have a number to an agent. I'm going to have a number to the label, the right manager, and I'm going, yeah, please tell me. He goes, go figure it out. And I go, oh. and he told me a story about, he was in his mom's basement and she basically said, hey dude, it's now or never. Go make it happen, and he did.
Yeah. That's great advice. Yeah, because there's got to be those times where you definitely get down, where you're like, oh, maybe this isn't going to happen, or maybe that was the end and you just want to give up, but something pushes you to keep going, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all have it. It's just like any other business. You got a hot streak, right? Your product is selling real well, and then all of a sudden everybody's used to it, and then now you're just kind of a soft punch in the shoulder for right this second. And that time when that happens, and it's happened to me several times. I mean, after the special guest, it was like, all right, now I need to start doing this. And it took a second for me to figure out where I wanted to go. And anyways, so yeah, it happens, and it can be depressing, and you can find yourself, going, all right, I'll just, I made money in the past, I'll just watch Netflix all day. And that's when you can get real depressed. And so you need to, if you're not in front of people making things happen, then at that time you need to go behind the scenes and create your next thing, create your next, come out swinging again and reinvent. And if that means taking a break from being in the public eye, then that's what you got to do. You just got to keep coming at them. And when you feel down and out and that no one cares or anything like that, that's just their attention span is not that long.
Right.
So it's up to you to bring them back to your field.
Exactly.
It's actually kind of a fun game, to be honest.
Yeah,
it can be scary, but it's a little bit of a chess match.
Exactly. Well, I was going to ask you about that. You play chess? Are you on the Chess with Friends app?
Yeah, I am actually.
What's your score on that?
Oh, I don't have it on my new phone. I have it on my old phone.
Ah, okay.
And which I essentially gave to my daughter, and within 30 minutes she had the screen completely blown to pieces. But I am, and I got to say, chess was a great way for me to learn discipline and patience, because I'm that's not the strongest thing of mine is patience. And if you can kind of wait your opponent out and see what's going on, and even sacrifice a few so you can get to the bigger picture, it almost kind of applies in my daily life. And I really miss the game. I'm not near as good as I was when I was a young man. I had a big devotion. I was devoted is the right word to chess. And then when I plugged the guitar in, I was at my cousin's house, and he had a guitar, and he hit the distortion button on his amplifier. And I go, oh, damn. Okay. Chess or that?
That's not as exciting. I got you. Yeah, if I had that talent. I took guitar lessons for a couple of years, but I couldn't get as good as you guys, but I'm always jealous of that. Speaking of jealous too, I'm jealous of these two people that was sadly passed away. I don't know if you had an opinion on this. Rick Ocasek from the Cars and Eddie Money just recently passed. Yeah. Were you fans of them at all, or do you have any interactions with them? Or
I had an interaction with who was it? Elliot Easton from the Cars. Oh. But I never met Rick, and I never met Eddie. And I know Eddie had this radio DJ we used to go on. He would just sing his praises about the first time he met Eddie Money and how well he treated everybody and treated the kids. And so unfortunately, I never had the pleasure to meet those two. And I know that their music will live on. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a lot of hits. So I'm a big music fan. I try to keep up with the newer bands, new styles of music. What do you think? It seems like a lot of music now is electronically based and not as many true musicians playing real instruments. And I think that's why I really like Austin and Nashville and seeing live bands and live music. Right. What's your take on the newer styles of pop and electronic dance music?
Oh, well, I keep my ear to the ground on it. I've been listening to Billie Eilish or however she spells her name. I think making beats like they do is a real big talent, because it's a hook, and it's just a whole different world. I do get disappointed when I see nobody up on stage playing anything. That kind of messes with my head a little bit, and I'm sorry, it does.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree.
I'm a singer and guitar player, and it took time, and not take away from their talents what they put on the records, but yeah, I wish people would play their instruments. I think that's kind of what that's what I signed up for. And and the other thing is, people may say, well, you're just jealous because pop stars, the pop music, they get on an almost different level of fame.
Sure.
It is a TMZ kind of thing. They have a different level of fame because of they kind of grab the right audience with the beats and what's current. And I guess I'll fall where I fall. I don't want to insult anybody, but I do say, Foo Fighters, perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Rocking, and it's fun, and it's encouraging kids to play music and pick up the guitar and pick up the drums.
Yeah, and they're selling out arenas, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I want you, if you found my show interesting, I want you to pick up a guitar and learn how to play it.
Absolutely.
And so
Speaking
yeah,
of
that's
shows,
kind of my thought.
you got some shows coming up, I think. Now, did you already do the show with John Corabi, or is that coming up? I thought I saw that, and then I couldn't find it again. Did that already happen?
Oh, you're talking about October 11th?
Oh, is that when? Oh, so it hasn't happened. Okay.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
We're doing a benefit in Green Bay, I believe, and the Riverside Ballroom, I think, is what it's called.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we got a real nice group of people. They call themselves the Rocker Chicks. Out of Green Bay. They put shows together. They put shows together for me for many years. And I know they've done work with John, and I've known John for a long time as well. So yeah, it'll be real fun. It'll be a real good show, and we hope to fill it up.
Have you ever thought of teaming up with him, either like you guys forming a band together, or at least going on tour and having a kind of a 2-for-1 solo deal where you could see both of you guys together? Because I'm a fan of his too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he's a nice man, and yeah, we've talked about it. We've exchanged, hey, what if we did some shows together? Because honest to God, when we go out acoustically, and John was actually playing in Cheap Thrill for a little bit. I forgot to mention that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, after Jeff left, John was our guitar player for, I don't know, 3 months or something, and then Devil City started. But there's a lot of similarities in our solo shows.
Right.
And, he's a storyteller and kind of a jokester, and I'm the same way. So I think it'd be a real interesting night of music for people, because you get to, we truly, the both of us truly try and entertain. And if it's laughter, whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, we've definitely have spoke about it, and who knows, maybe it'll happen someday.
Yeah. And speaking of Motley Crue singers, you also have a show in November with Vince Neil, right? Have you ever met him? That's going to be an exciting show, right?
I know I'm kind of friends with the band more than I am with Vince. Vince and I we've been on the same shows, 3 or 4, and in passing, he kind of comes in and kind of goes real quick.
Okay.
But the guys from Slaughter and everything, I mean, they've always been real sweet to me. And
do you now I got to ask you about this then. So you're friends with his band. So have you seen his drummer, Zoltan Chaney? That guy's one of the most craziest drummers I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, he's insane. I remember one of the shows we were doing with a special guest in Phoenix, and it's like, where the hell's CC DeVille? Where is he? And anyways, he was like, he didn't care who saw him. He was so enamored with the drummer.
Yeah.
Like I think he went and asked for a pair of drumsticks.
Yeah.
Like that's what a big fan he was.
Oh
and,
yeah.
So yeah, man.
He's one of my favorite.
Show within a show.
He's like Animal from the Muppets or something. Like if you're listening to this right now, go YouTube Zoltan Chaney drum solo. I mean, he jumps off these giant, amplifiers and falls into the drum kit. I mean, it's insane what he does. It's very visually appealing. It's really cool. So
it's kind of inspiring. I mean, it's
right,
like that guy. I love working out, and night after night on the stage, like, wow, that was a workout. And then you see a video of him, and you go, okay, I need to up my game a little bit.
Are you still doing the P90X? I used to do that too.
We did the P90X ab ripper for a long time, and then we recently started boxing again. I used to box when I was younger, and so we started boxing again just for cardio. And I got my wife doing it, and I actually have my parents doing it. I've had neighbors doing it with us. I just really enjoy it, just the workout.
Cool.
And sometimes it's not all about hitting the weights. You can still tone up by doing other things, and I found that I like that more than being in a weight room.
Absolutely. So, okay, well, I like to always end on a charity that you're passionate about, and you told me that the Free to Love program, which is an anti-bullying and anti-suicide program, that you're kind of involved with that. Can you tell me more about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm an ambassador for Free to Love, and I started recently going around to high schools and speaking to students about my experience,
Wow.
my ups, my downs, and basically just talking with the students about more or less feelings and expressing feelings, and also just telling them, that this is a season and this too will pass, and I'm just trying to give them as much hope and security that they're going to move on to do big things, and these bullies are they don't mean anything, and we just need to rise above it, and also take care of our, if you see a problem happening, don't let it get out of control. Don't let, we're not all made equally. We all are have different sensitivity levels. We all have different things about us that make us unique. And so don't just assume that a kid or an adult or whoever can take the same beating every single day, verbally or physically or whatever it may be. Don't assume that, because someone eventually is going to have a breaking point. And I'd like to intervene before that breaking point happens. And
Absolutely.
so way before. And so when I go to these schools and talk, I hand out Free to Love bracelets to just let everyone know, hey man, the wonderful thing about us is we're different. So embrace our differences.
Absolutely.
And
I agree.
And just let them know you can do it. Look, I came from a small town in Iowa. Okay, everybody thought. I mean, there was literally cyberbullying about. Okay, I'm going to be flipping burgers in 2 years. All these nasty things that you read
Towards you
about yourself. Oh, I mean, just yeah.
Wow.
It was just anybody who could, who really want. I mean, anybody who wants to can put whatever they want on the internet. And I learned that in the early days, and I got real tough with it for a long time. And then sometimes it does get to you, and then you're like, all right, I need some strength here. And so, man, I just want the kids to be, school is a spot for them to plan their future, make friends. And that's it. You don't need to be afraid to ever go to school. You shouldn't ever be afraid.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to bring back if I can, and I will do my best.
I think that's great. And just for the record, I would not bully you. I'm actually really jealous of your life. I think it's awesome. You're friends with the guys in Poison. You've performed with all these great bands. You've written and performed some great songs, in my opinion. You just created some really good music. So is there anything else? Your new single is out. We want to make sure we promote that. It's on iTunes. I'm assuming Spotify. I know it's on YouTube, everything else. And you're on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, your website, YouTube, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, B Gibbs Music. You can find me on Instagram, B Gibbs Music. Brandon Gibbs Music on Facebook. And as much as I can, I really try and personally reply to fans as often as I can, because I just appreciate the support. So you can find me on all those. Please like or follow, and in return I'll do the same.
Very cool. Will you be sharing this interview with on your fan page?
I would love to. Can you tell me how to?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'll upload it and I'll send you the link. So very cool. And then, is there going to be more tour dates added? Is there any chance you're coming to Phoenix? That's where I'm based. I didn't know if there would be a show here.
We are coming to Phoenix. We're coming to Phoenix I think it's January 11th.
Oh, okay.
But,
awesome. I didn't even see that on the website.
The thing is, since this music, since I signed this deal and I had to get in the studio, I actually put several shows and things on hold so I could, finish my deal and get in the studio and create new stuff. So to be honest with you, like this last 2 weeks have been more talk about shows. So they'll, we did Vegas and Colorado, and they're just now coming in, and we can pay more attention to it now that we've put in some work and can release, new Brandon Gibbs music.
Very cool.
So you'll see more to answer your question.
Awesome. Okay. I can't wait. Well, thank you. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed having you on here.
I did.
Awesome. Very cool. So yeah, if you could share this, that'd be great. Everybody go follow Brandon Gibbs. His new music, his single, Rain Whiskey, is out now. Anything else that you want to promote or talk about?
No, I just want to say thank you for thinking of me, and I hope to see you guys on the road or meet you officially. So have a
Very
great
cool.
one, and again, keep rock and roll alive, my friend.
Okay. Thanks, Brandon.
Okay, take
Bye-bye.
care.
Take care. Okay, so that was Brandon Gibbs, a solo artist, also from the band Devil City Angels that's currently inactive, but you never know when that may come back around. So check him out online, follow his social media, go to his website, and check out for tour dates because he's probably going to be coming and playing in your city. I would highly recommend seeing him. I haven't seen him live, like I said, but I've seen YouTube videos, and the kid's really talented. He's got a great voice and performs live. It's not him pushing a laptop button like some of these DJs out there that we kind of joked about. But other than that, you want to check out, we have a lot of great interviews on the Chuck and Josh podcast, my other podcast with my podcast partner, Josh. We have like 50 episodes on the Chuck and Josh podcast. I think this is episode number 9 on the Chuck Shoot podcast. So there's 8 other episodes of that. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. So, we also have a new YouTube channel that I just launched. I've got a lot of live music there for the people that have performed on my podcast and a couple sound clips of shows that I've done. So check all that out, and thank you so much for listening. Until next time.